clean screen. Okay.
The screen now. It says go to webinar.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm changing that. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be in business. Okay, that's good. Now I can come back to Paint. Okay, and file. Okay. All right. Okay, so you see this now? You can see the screen, folks, everybody, which says Vakratunda Mahakaya. Right? So this is our prayer.
Yes, I can.
Good.
I can see that now.
Good. So we're back in business. So I can bring up my next slide to make sure we are doing okay. No, not that. I'm sorry. Got the wrong one. Where is that now? I'll take that just in 1 second. No, it's wrong one. Why? Oh, okay. That's where it has happened. Okay, that's fine. All right. Okay. So my attendees, bring them up. Just 1 second. Attendees. Okay, there it is. Okay. Anand Subramaniam, you have your hand raised. What's your question or comment at this point?
No. That I was just raising the hand.
Okay, don't raise your hands unnecessarily, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, what I want to talk to you about is what is Sanskritam? Who is there now? Okay, good. Okay. So, basic thing, what are we talking about in this class? Sanskritam. What does Sanskritam mean? Sanskritam literally means Samyak Kritam iti Sanskritam. That which is done well. That is which is well made, which is refined, which is created with forethought. That's what it means. So it's not a random language, but a language which has been created with good thought. Samyak Kritam, created well, made well, which has a sense of artificiality in that. Which means it's not like a language which just developed by sounds people made to each other like animals, you know. But this language, we call it as the Devabhasha, Devavani. It's called the Vedavani because it's the language of the Vedas. This is what Sanskritam is. So this Sanskritam is something which we say was part of the creation. The language was part of the creation. And we will see reasons why you can see it makes more sense. Yeah. There are reasons, why we call it that. You will see how each of these sounds in the alphabet is produced. I'll take that up at another session. But essentially, I'm saying Samskrita is a very special language, and therefore the name itself is called Samyak Kritam iti Samskritam. A lot of words in some Sanskrit have this kind of derivations which will make it very meaningful. Now, if you notice, I have titled this class as a class of Sanskrit and not as a class of Sanskrit grammar. What's the difference? Grammar is primarily a set of rules which govern a language. A language is much more than the grammar. A language is live. A language is a means of communication, right? And that language as a means of communication is what's important for us to learn. Because more often than not, we end up learning a set of rules, and we try to use those rules. We don't necessarily use them and forget them, and then we think we don't know anything. So that's not only the only way to learn language. That is why I'm saying this class has got 3 components. To say we will have rules, we will also have some simple language, and we will have reading, because that's the only way to develop the entire thing here. So to start with, I'm saying, what is the purpose? Why is this class? I mean, all of you obviously are interested in Sanskrit, but I would like to present my perspective of why I have started this class, right? For anything we start in Vedanta, we always talk of Anubandha Chatushtayam, which means there's a 4-fold reason. We have to give a 4-fold reason as to why anything is done. Like if I write a new book, you would ask me, why am I writing a book? If there are 150 books on, say, English grammar, I wouldn't write, there's no reason to write a 152nd book, right? And that, the very first thing we try to answer is what is the purpose? Because we are all very goal-oriented people. So we want to know why we want anything. So the first thing is prayojanam. Where's my pen now? Where's the pen? If we can find it. Huh? Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. So the very first thing you see is called the prayojanam. So prayojanam means what now? Let me show that. Okay. So the first thing I'm looking at is prayojanam. So this prayojanam is something which means the purpose, the utility, the benefit. Why do we study this language? So if we look at it, really try to understand, we say that a man has 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama and moksha. And that moksha purushartha cannot be gained by any other means except through the shastras, through the Vedas. And that Veda is in Sanskrit language. Okay. Now to understand the Veda, I need the language. Therefore, Vyakaranam is a Vedanga. It is one of the components of the which help us understand the Veda. It's like the limbs of Veda. We talk of Vyakaranam, we talk of Niruktam, we talk of Jyotisham. So Vyakaranam, the Shabda Shastra, is one of the important limbs of the Veda. And therefore, we need to know the grammar so that we may be able to study the Shastras, the Vedas, and with that we will achieve Jnanam, and that Jnanam will give us Moksha. That is the context in which in this curriculum we talk of the Vyakarana. So, the next thing that we have is okay. One second. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm just trying to get my screen organized here. This is not moving. Huh? No, I can use the mouse. It also should be a... Huh? Okay. For some reason it's not moving with that. Okay. Okay. So now you can see, what am I seeing now? Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. So the four things are prayojana, vishaya, adhikari and sambandha. Okay. So of them, this prayojanam, as I said, is the primary thing, the utility. The second thing that we want to talk about is the vishaya. So prayojana, as I said to you, first thing, I mentioned the prayojanam first to you, and that prayojanam was the utility of this shastra, which is to get moksha. The second thing is what is the subject matter. The subject matter, as I said, is the language itself. To understand, ability to comprehend the language is the vishaya of this class. Okay. And in that context, I would like to bring in the fact, you know, it's not just a set of rules, it's more than that. It is an understanding, complete understanding, a comprehension of the language, the vocabulary, the way the language is used. And the Vedic language will happen to be different from the regular language. That's something we will talk about in a brief way. And adhikari is the next, as to for whom is this class meant. From a very simple perspective, I said adhikari is anybody who knows Devanagari script, who can write Hindi for this class. But what I would like to stress here is, you know, we say that in 99% of the perspiration and 1% is inspiration. A lot of people talk about the fact that Sanskrit is very difficult. I will try to actually help you see that it is not difficult. It's just that it is not a natural language. I mean, how did we learn our natural languages? Because we just learn to speak before we learn grammar. We don't learn the rules of English grammar before we learn to speak. We learn grammar, we learn language, and we learn the grammars to kind of smooth out or polish our own language skills, right? A computer language is one where you learn the grammar and then you write your computer programs. So that's called a prescriptive grammar, okay? Which means that there is a set of rules, and those rules are prescribed in the grammar, and only with those rules can you develop the language. But for any natural language, the grammar is not prescriptive, it happens to be descriptive, which means the language comes first and the grammar comes later, right? So the grammar is something that describes the language, tries to describe the language. And in Sanskritam, that grammar description being given by Pani, which we'll see it later, is something which is very special because there's almost a logical basis for everything in the whole language, right? But it is a descriptive language, right? Now, what do we need for this language? You will see books which say Sanskrit without tears, Sanskrit in 7 days, Sanskrit in 2 days, Sanskrit in 10 days. How true is this? I can say one thing, that even after studying Sanskrit for years, I feel I know very little of the language. Okay? So the fact is, there is no shortcut to learning a language. I just want everybody to be very clear that there is no shortcut. We have to spend the time to learn this. That's why I'm mentioning this as Adhikari here, that you must have first a Shraddha in yourself that I can do it. What's Obama's thing? We can, right? Yes, we can. So I think we should say that yes, we can even here. We can do Sanskrit for sure. There's no doubt about that. But we have to spend the time and the effort. And what I'm trying to do here, in Adhikari I'm saying, is that you should be committed. It is, Udyamam, Sahasam, Dhairyam. We talk of all these, an effort, a persistence, a courage to stay with it. When all these are there alone, Ishvara helps. We cannot just sit back and say, I don't know, Sanskrit is difficult, it doesn't work. We have to make an effort. In what way is the effort to be made? Now this class, as of now, I said, we will have 3 hours, 4 hours on every first and third Saturday. 4 hours in 2 weeks, if you ask me, is very little comparatively for a language. But it should be a good start. Okay? Now, you have to put in the effort to understand every class. And as I said, hopefully we will not have such, breaks in our class in between due to power cuts or anything next time. And these classes will be recorded and will be available on the web so you can listen to it again and see what's going on. So you have to understand what's going on. And another very important concept in the language is for you to remember. Now let us say in the English language, right, you knew the words Rama, school, go. Let's say you need these 3 words. And you just said you want to make a sentence. And you don't remember went, right? You don't remember when he was 5 years, when, you don't remember the word when. So you'll say Rama, school, go, 5. It won't make any sense, right? Now in Sanskrit, the fact is that whenever we have a noun, it's in English you say Rama, and you say Rama went to school. That to is a preposition, right? We connect words, nouns and verbs using prepositions in the English language. In grammar, a noun expresses itself only as connected with a verb. Okay? What we call karaka. A karaka in the Sanskrit language means that by which something is accomplished. Okay? And there are different things which are accomplished. Like say, as I said, now if I said, Rama goes to school. What is the verb here? The verb is goes. Alright? I'm not using Sanskrit, I'm just saying in English now. Goes. If I just said goes to you, and I'm communicating, what would you ask me? You would ask me, who goes? Right? So the first question is who goes? Who means the agent. Right? In English, what do you say? You'll just say Rama goes. Right? But the fact is that in Sanskrit, there is a way to express that. You just cannot use the word Rama. You have to say Ramaha. Only then the fact that he is connected to the verb of going as an agent is expressed. Okay? If you want to say to Rama, let's say I said, give this book to Rama. Right? In English, again, you're using the word Rama. Right? But in Sanskrit, I have to say that the to part gets added to the word Rama. So a noun, what I'm trying to say to you, the noun has no independent existence of its own except as seen to be connected to a verb. And how it's connected to the verb? As the agent of the verb, which means the one which does the action. As the object of the verb, which means one which is subject to the action. As something that the agent uses to accomplish the action. There are various ways in which a noun can be connected to the verb. Right? And all these different connections are kind of built into the noun form. You cannot use a noun by itself except as connected to a verb. Does that make sense? So because of this reason, unlike English where you have to learn the noun separately and you learn prepositions like to, from, there, here, you learn all these prepositions, you connect the sentences. In Sanskrit, you cannot do that. You cannot use a noun unless you know how to express it as connected to a verb. Okay? This is what is called declensions in Sanskrit. So you will say first case, second case, third case. These are really various ways in which a verb is connected, the noun is connected to the verb. It's just expressing the noun's connection to the verb. That's all it is doing. Okay? Similarly, in the verbs too, we have, when you talk of a verb, what's involved in a verb? A verb means action. An action involves a time. Is it present action? Is it a past action? Is it a future action? Sometimes it involves certain moods. You know, is it a command? Is it a request? What kind of thing it is? So a verb has to encompass all these things. And both nouns and verbs, in English what do we have? We have two numbers, which is singular and plural. In Sanskrit we have three. We have a singular, we have dual, and we have plural. So it's not just two. In English we'll say man, one man, many men. But in Sanskrit you will say one man, two men, many men. Okay? So there are three numbers, a singular, a dual, which is two people, and many people. Similarly, one apple, two apples, many apples in Sanskrit. But in English, you'll just say apple, apples. Right? So there are three numbers. And as I said, every noun has to be expressed in terms of how it's connected to the verb. And every verb, look at this verb now. If I'm communicating with somebody, there are at least two people involved if I'm communicating. There is me and there is you to whom I'm communicating. Right? And if I'm talking of something else, there's a third thing involved. Right? So every verb, you should be able to see whether it is addressed. Am I talking about the action I'm involved in? Am I talking as an action which is impinging on you to whom I'm conversing, with whom I'm conversing? Or is it impinging on something other than I and you? Right? So in Sanskrit we use the word Prathama Purusha, right, which means I, Madhyama Purusha, which means you with whom I'm speaking, and the third one is called Anya Purusha. Anya Purusha means somebody else. It's not a person necessarily. It could be a subject matter. Let's say now I'm talking Sanskrit. I will say Sanskrit is a good language. Now, I'm not Sanskrit. You are not Sanskrit. So what is Sanskrit then? If it is not you and it is not me, it has to be third person, Anya Purusha. In English, you will see the word first person, second person, third person. So first person is me, second person is you who I'm talking to, and third person is everything else in the world other than you and me. Whether I'm talking of a live thing or inanimate thing makes no difference absolutely. Okay? So this is what it is. So I'm saying now in a verb you have the tense, you have the mood, and you have the number, and you have this idea of, what is it connecting to? So, and the noun again has number, whether it's one Rama or two Ramas or many Ramas. Rama may not mix because one person. But let's say I'm talking of human beings. One human, two humans, or many human beings. Right? How is it connected to the verb? Is it the agent of the verb? Is it the object of the verb? Now all these things I'm saying, unlike English where the verb again separates and prepositions connected, the verb has to incorporate in itself the tense. It has to incorporate in itself the number, whether it's one, two, or three people. It has to incorporate in itself the person, whether it's first person, second person, or third person. Therefore, we need a conjugation for the verbs. Okay? So the nouns have to be conjugated because they have to express their connection to the verbs. And the verbs have to be conjugated because they have their own specialities about number and, the Purusha, also the first person, second person, third person. So because of this, the verbs are conjugated. So now what happens is this. If you know the word Rama as a noun, it's useless. You have to know how it declines. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha. Ramam, Ramau, Raman. Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. What is this now? Each line, Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha. That first line is called Prathama Vibhakti, first Vibhakti. And that is representing the noun connected to the verb as the agent of that verb. Okay? All this will get repeated. I'm just trying to introduce to you the language. So don't think that this is the last time I'm going to say this. This is just the beginning. I'm trying to get you to see why Sanskrit is different from English to start with. Okay? And appreciate the difference. Once you understand it, now you see that, as I was telling you in English, I started off by saying in English, you don't know, if you don't remember the prepositions, you cannot speak a meaningful sentence. Rama, school, go doesn't make a sentence. You have to say Rama went to school, or Rama came from school. Without the from and to, it makes no sense, right? So since in Sanskrit the nouns have to incorporate or build in these prepositions also into them, they have to be conjugated or declined, and therefore the declensions are needed. So if you tell me, you know what, I know the word Rama, but I can't understand Sanskrit, so tough. Yes, it will be tough unless you are able to master some of these declensions. Okay? So Medha Shakti, the ability to memorize, is also important in the language. I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm not trying to make it difficult. I'm just being factual here. Okay? We say that, Pustakam Gatam Ya Vidya, Parahastagatam Dhanam, they are not with you. Money which is in somebody else's pocket is not there for you to use. Knowledge which is there in the book is not there for you to use. So to say that I know Ramaha, 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 when I look at in the book of Antoine, I look at some other book, is absolutely worthless. Okay? I'm overemphasizing worthless here just to make a point. Yes, it's good to understand Ramaha, Ramaha, Ramaha in the book too. But if after 5 years you still say I need the book to say Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, you cannot make any progress with the language. Absolutely none. Okay? So why am I saying all this? Because I'm speaking here of adhikari. I'm speaking of a person. Yeah? Oh, there's a question? Okay. 1 second. I'll take the question. So I'm talking of who is the person and what does this person have to do? How qualified is he for taking this, for this class? Okay? So I'm saying one must be enthusiastic towards saying that I want to do this, and therefore there's a need for learning something. Hand is raised? I don't see a hand. 1 second. I should probably just sort it by hand. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, I got it now. All right, 1 second. Yes, Ranganathanji. You can ask your question.
Hello. Okay. I could follow Chatushtayam, which means 4.
Yeah.
And what is Anubandha?
Anubandha just means that which binds it, whatever I'm talking about.
Oh, the binding is Anubandha.
I mean, basically I'm saying for any book, let me finish with this topic, and if you still have the question, I'll take it again, okay? I haven't finished with this.
All right.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying here, I'm talking of this thing called adhikari right now. I'm saying adhikari is what? Adhikritaha, one who is qualified, or one who is the right person for this knowledge, for the subject matter, for this vishaya. So I'm saying you must be having the commitment, right? You must have Shraddha in yourself that, as I said, yes, we can. That Shraddha you need. Start with that at least. Don't start by saying, I don't know if I'm going to follow this class. I don't know what I can do. That's a wrong approach. You can do it. All of you can do it. No question about it. Okay? Start with that. Then I'm saying there's another component which is Medha. Medha means it is the Grantha Grahana, which means ability to understand and retain. You have to retain some things. I'm not saying you have to retain everything. This is where I will help you with Paninian ways of remembering, which will make it easier for you to remember. It won't be a mechanical memorization alone. But there will only be aids for you to remember. They will not be replacement for memory. You still have to remember something. Instead of remembering a book of 500 pages, you can remember a book of 30 pages, but you still have to remember something. And I'm saying there's a minimum amount of learning that is needed, which cannot be avoided. So I will tell you, and in fact what I am going to do is this. I am not going to come and teach you Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha here. That is a waste of my time and yours. Any book will tell you that. Okay? What I am going to do is to point you to the right direction, expect you to learn those things, and then how much you gain from this class will depend upon how much work you put into it. That is why I'm saying adhikari. Okay? So adhikari is one who is committed, who has Shraddha, right? And then one more thing let me mention here. We say that any language, any knowledge which you get, how do we get knowledge? We say, Padam acharyena. 1/4 of the knowledge you get from a teacher. Okay? Padam swamedhaya. Padam means a quarter. There are 4 quarters, right? 25%. 4 quarters. So 1/4 is gotten from what the teacher teaches. 1/4 by your own effort. Another 1/4 is saha brahmachari bihi. So you talk with the fellow students and you learn from them, because you figured something out, they didn't figure it. They figured something out, you didn't. You talk. So this community of people should talk to each other. The Google groups that I have set up now, it's not just for this mailing list. I expect you to make it a live community where you can post your questions, get answers to the questions. Okay? And we can help each other, because all of us want to learn the language. Right? So that is the Saha Brahmachari. And what is the 4th one? It says, 4th pada is Kalena. With time. Don't expect that if you start studying Sanskrit in 1 month time you're going to be an expert. You won't. Don't be frustrated. There's no reason to be. Time alone causes a fruit to ripen. Okay? You can't rush it. So that is something that you should keep in mind. So there is no reason for you to be frustrated. All of us are at different levels of language. I know some people who have registered for this class who have taught Sanskrit, Sambhashanam for 5-6 years. There are others who are learning Panini right now and still on this class, enrolled in this class. So I'm saying there is a great deal to be said about repetition. Okay? It is not something to be ticked off and said, yeah, I learned Rama, now I'm done with it. No, unless you keep it in your mind all the time, it will go away again. Pujya Swamiji says, Vyakaranam is Nitya Karma, which means that you have to do it every day. Alright? That's when you'll really catch it. So that is something again to be kept in mind. So I'm saying, this 4 padas, you get something from me, you get something from your fellow students, you get something by your effort, and something will come to you in time. Don't try to get everything overnight, you won't. And there's no reason to be frustrated either. But if you keep to it, we will go with Obama saying, yes, we can definitely do it. So that's what I want you all to be, adhikaris. Now comes the last part here, which stands for Sambandha. So what is Sambandha? Sambandha means the connection. Connection between what? Connection between the prayojana, because as I said, we are all people who are very keen on our, why should I do this? Kya fayda hai isme? Huh? So that some prayojanam is that we will get moksha finally with this jnana. What is the connection between the subject and moksha? This subject is how to understand the Sanskrit language. When you get this, master that, the Sanskrit language will help you understand the Shastra. Shastra will go to moksha. That is one sambandha. Then what is the sambandha between the Vishaya and the Prayojana? Pratipadaka Pratipadya Sambandha. Which means the subject matter unfolds the language for you, and therefore it is an unfolded relationship. Okay? So these relationships are also important because we understand why we're doing. You should be very clear why we do what we do. I don't ask you to do like my teacher in Nagpur used to say. She says, I'm a very smart, lazy person. Means what? You have to be smart in order to be lazy. Okay? If you're only going to put an effort and work hard, it doesn't help. You have to be smart and then you can be lazy. So smartness is in going to Panini, understanding things where you can learn things easily. And laziness is not trying to cram up books when you don't need to. Just know a sutra and you'll know everything about it. Right? So I'm saying I will help you in this class to be smart and lazy. But it does not mean you can be completely lazy. You have to be smart, which means you have to learn certain things. Okay? So these 4, what do you mean by Anubandha? Anubadhnati anena iti Anubandha means that by which something is bound. Now what am I talking about? I'm talking about this class. I'm talking about the reasons for this class. Why this class? Who should do it? All these connect the class with you, the person. Right? So Anubandha just means that which is helping us connect to all this, and every one of these should be known for us to really undertake anything. So if I wrote a book in the old times, books, there were no Xerox machines. There were no photocopiers. So if a book was written, if somebody has to read it, somebody has to write it. Each copy had to be handwritten. Therefore, there was a Vidvat Sabha in India, wherein they would say, is there a need for such a book? Is there a need for this class? Not a class, but a book. Is there a need for this book? If such a book already exists which gives subject matter, there's no need for the book. If there's a particular reason why you're presenting it, tell me what is the use, tell me what is it talking about, tell me who should study it, and tell me what is the relationship between your Prayojana and Vishaya. Only when you have established all this in a foolproof way, then somebody will undertake the study of the book. Okay? That is why I start with Anubandha Chatushtaya. Now, Ranganathanji, if this is clear to you, it's fine. If not, you can raise your hand again. I'll take questions. And any other questions this time, I'll be happy to take them. None. Okay. I think, yes, you have a question here. Yeah. It's okay. Let him tell. Okay. Yeah.
In order to learn Sanskrit, do I need to be very strong in the English grammar itself?
Absolutely. Okay. You don't need to be strong in English grammar. It is not necessary. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm assuming that all of us have the basics of English grammar. Basics. At least we speak English, right? We know how to speak. I'm trying, see, because if I'm teaching Sanskrit to a kid, okay, who is just 6 years or 5 years old, like your daughter if I'm trying to teach her, then I will not use this approach. I will not give any logic for all this. I won't tell them Anubandha Chatushtaya and all that, okay? I'm just going to start Rama, Ramo, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramo, Rama. Memorize it. Come on. I'll make you do that. But you are adults here, right? So now I am trying to appeal to what you already know. I'm trying to use what you already know to help you grow into this. So what I will talk to each of you individually will depend upon what I see as your background. Because the way to teach a person is to take him from what he knows to what he doesn't know. There is no other way to learn. If you analyze how we know anything in life, it's very difficult. So to answer your question, no. I don't expect any of you to have any great deal of knowledge of English grammar. Absolutely not. Even I don't have it. Okay? Okay? Yeah. Okay, one more. Yeah.
Basically, what I was asking is when you say basics, like do I need to know, for example, declension is something that I just came to know from what you said.
The word declension, no, it doesn't matter if you don't know it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that,
not.
I'm saying.
No, you're fine. So far as you can understand what am I saying, whatever I'm telling you right now, you're okay. All right. Anand Subramaniam, I'm unmuting you. I'll take your question. Anand? Oh, what happened? What happened to Anand now? If you are able, I can't unmute him for some reason. So it's saying click to unmute.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
now unmuted.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat the meaning for that Anubandha Chatushtaya?
Anubandha. See, as I said, basically I'm saying for any subject matter, any pursuit, any book in our Shastras, we say you should have these 4 things which will bind you to that study or that book. Why should you take it up? Prayojanam, which means what is the utility from this? Okay. Chatushtayam means 4. Anubandha, as I said, is that which binds you to it. 4 things which bind you to something. Suppose I'm writing a new book. First thing, if I want to give you that book and say, here's a book, please read it, Anand, you should ask me, what's in this book? What am I going to get by reading this book? Suppose I said, this book is about life of the Aborigines living in far north Queensland in Australia. You will say, what do I do with that? So it's absolutely worthless to you, right? So that you should have some benefit from it is the first thing. That is called Prayojanam. Okay?
Right.
That is Prayojanam. The second thing, okay, what is the subject matter of this book? Okay, you told me what I will get out of it. But what is the matter of this book? What are you covering the subject matter? That is Vishaya. Okay? The third thing is, okay, I like the Prayojanam. Let's say the Prayojanam is to go to heaven, okay? And the Vishaya is the Veda. And you are, let's say, 65 years old. Alright? And you say, now it's too old, I can't learn the Vedas and do it. So you are not an adhikari for it anymore. You are not qualified to take up the pursuit, even though you might like the utility and you might like the subject matter. That's adhikari. Then, even if you know all this, one must know the connection between the subject matter and the prayojana, the subject matter and the adhikari. This is the connections. Because, see, suppose, I'll just take a Vedantic example here. If you want to be happy, what should you do? Pujya Swamiji says, there is no reason for your happiness. Which means what? Doing anything is not making you happy. Happiness is even in nature. Now, when we don't know this, we will run all around the place trying to find happiness here and there. Right? But if you knew this, then you wouldn't. So there has to be clarity about what is the sadhana, what is the sadhya. Sadhya means the goal or that which is to be achieved. Sadhana means the means to achieve it. Now, if the means, the connection between the means and the goals is not clear, we will follow the wrong means to get wrong goals. Therefore, sambandha becomes very important. So all these four put together, we say for any pursuit, first one should understand this. What is the use I'm going to get for this? What is subject matter? Am I a adhikari for that? And what is the connection between these things? That is what is called Anubandha Chatushtaya. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now I think we'll stop now. And then we will reassemble not at 4:30, but we'll make it 4:45. So we'll have 1.25 hours class, so 1.5. Okay? Thank you very much. I'll just finish with Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So all of you online will have to log off and come back with a different link. Okay? I'll also do the same from here. I can hang on for 5 minutes if anybody online has any questions still about either the utility or the way to come in. Any comments so far? I'll be happy to take them. Raise your hands, I can take them. Okay, just 1 second, Krishna. I'm going to unmute you. Yes, Krishna. Krishna, you are unmuted. You may speak. Krishna?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. Okay, so will you be assigning homework, Shankar, in these classes?
Homework, not right now, but not immediately. But homeworks probably I can start giving, but I don't think I'll check each person's homework individually. But I'll have people probably, we'll discuss whatever homework is there.
No, what I mean is, obviously you said you're not going to lead us through the Shabda Manjari in terms of learning the declensions and so forth. But you will be telling us specifically, by the next 2 weeks, learn these 4 declensions.
I probably may not do it in this class today because today is the very first one. But going forward, yes, I will do that.
Okay, great. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. Savitri Kamakshima, you have a question? You are unmuted now. Savitri? You can go. Oh, you can off. Huh? If you can't speak, please type in your question, Amma. No, okay. Savitri Kamakshima, I can't hear you. If you have something to say, please speak up or type your question. I have unmuted you. Hello? Savitri Ma? I don't know. She hasn't got anything to say. Let me take the next person. Anand?
Shankarji,
Yeah.
the question is like, you have mentioned about certain books that
Increase volume.
You mentioned about certain books that should be bought,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So is there any, anyway we are going to buy it, but you prefer us to get it before the next session or something like that? You have
Yes, actually, you know what? In the next session, I will see if I can introduce the books. The way I'm trying to go with this class is to, talk of those things with which I can get you all up and running quickly.
Okay.
And then go back, because see, normally Sanskrit would start with the alphabet. If you notice, I haven't started with the alphabet so far. Actually, right now, I've just introduced the subject matter in a way, but you will see I will not go with the alphabet first. And there is a reason for each of those books, and I will either go over them in the next class or in the following weekend class we will talk about, or maybe in the evening class. But each of those books has a reason. I will go over them when everybody is here. So I would suggest that yes, you should have those books. Infant reader, something will start right away for the reading classes. And the other books are good references which I will indicate how they can be used, each of them. Okay?
Fine, thank you.
All right.
Shankar,
Yes.
this is Hello. I'm asking a question.
Who is this?
If I
No, who's
connect,
speaking?
yeah, this is Sangavelu. But,
Yeah.
I'm speaking. My wife's name is Kamaki.
Ah, okay.
So I'm asking about instead of the headset, if I connect it to a regular speaker,
Yeah.
both of us here, does it affect you?
Okay, when you're speaking like this, you should make sure that your speakers are off. But then, see, the problem will be difficult. So at that point, you'll need headsets.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay when you're just listening to me. But when any of you ask a question, you'll have to be on the headset because otherwise it will cause an echo for everybody else.
Now is it okay?
Now it's fine.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Anything? Because I see a few people have come in later. If anyone has anything to say, you're welcome to speak now. Or raise your hand and I will take your questions. If not, Vijaya, 1 second. I'll take her. Yes, Amma, Vijaya. I've unmuted you. You can speak. I lowered it actually. Vijaya? Hello? Vijaya? Vijaya Vishwanathan ji? She's typing. If you can't speak, please type the question in. Vijaya Amma? I don't know why. What happens here? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please raise your hand again. At least let me see if you're hearing me, whatever I'm saying. Vijayamma. You raise your hand. Okay, which means that somehow I'm not able to hear what you have to say. Okay? So please type in your question. Maybe your mic isn't connected. Some problem like that. So type your question. At least that way we'll see if whatever you're saying, we'll probably get it. Oh, Ammo's gone with it. Okay. She's typing anything? Okay. 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 Who it is? Huh? What? Oh, he has 1 second. Okay, I'll take that 1 second. Yeah, okay. Yes, Chandrasekhar ji. Chandrasekhar Raghu. I've unmuted you. You can speak now. Hello? Do you have your mic connected? If not, please type your question. I mean, this is why I wanted to have people come a little early to check if their mics are working. I don't hear you. Okay. Yeah. Okay, okay. The question is one class for reading, one class for grammar, one class for Sambhashanam? I don't want to make it watertight at this point in time because I cannot do any Sambhashanam without some basics. I would like to combine the three, and at this point in time, I would like to have my discretion to structure the classes as I think would serve the interest best for all the audience. But later on, I expect one class to be reading of some kind, but the other two can be anything. Sambhashanam can go either into the reading or the non-grammar class. Rule-based class will be purely rules. Okay, but as I said, I don't want to make it watertight at this point in time. Maybe in future it will happen. I'm saying those are three components, and I will try to make it that way so that people like yourself who are very comfortable probably with Sambhashanam, etc., may not need to come to the other class necessarily. And if you can check why your mic is not working, that will help me. I can hear you clearly then. Thank you. Is there anybody else who has anything to say? Did Vijaya type anything? No. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else right now, I'm just going to log off and be back at 4:45. Yeah. Is there anybody else? Who? Vijaya? No, I muted. Maybe she's muted back now. I'll bring her back up. But Vijaya, you're unmuted. If you have a mic, you can speak. You may speak if you have a mic, Vijaya. Okay. Actually, the thing is also that at this point in time, I have not decided how much homework, what homework, etc. and I'm not expecting, that I'll start giving homework right away. What you get out of it, as I said, will depend on what you do. So I will probably leave it more to the discretion of people to see how much time they want to spend with it. But as I said, what you gain will depend upon how much pain you take for it. So, and given I know your background, so I don't think you will have any trouble keeping up with this. Any other questions? 12 years and above, absolutely. Actually, I'll recognize 2 kids in the next class. I have two kids who are about 13 years old right now in this class. I will recognize them. So yes, absolutely welcome. So far as I understand what I'm saying, I see no reason why they can't attend. Anything else? No. Okay, folks, thank you for coming. As I said, I'll start the next session in about 15-20 minutes, 4:45 Eastern time. So please get off and come back in with the other link. And hopefully we'll have a undisrupted session. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording now.